Namaste, Amy.
Okay.
Everybody, welcome to our weekly Women's Wellness Wednesday. Yes.
WWE.
Oh, yeah, that's right. This looks familiar. Is this from a rock band or?
I hope it's not rude.
Oh, I know, right? Yeah. So in different cultures, I don't know if this means something else in your culture, please do let us know. I don't know.
Yeah.
In Chinese, we don't have that, but I don't know if you heard from me in Chinese, this means
Rock
six.
on.
This means actually number six, the
Oh, it
number
does?
six. Yeah,
This
it's
is
because
three things to me. This is rock on. This is
yes,
a shaka for surface. This
surface, yes.
is the sign for Texas Longhorns.
Really? Wow. See, one simple sign can mean so many things. Maybe in your own culture, this also means something else.
Yeah.
But yeah, because like for Chinese, we do the, you know how you can signal numbers, right? We do it in one hand,
All
right?
right.
So that's what we don't use two hands, we use one hand. Actually, no, you have to use two. But it's just different way. One, two, three, four, five, and then six, and then seven, and then
It's like
eight.
sign
This
language.
this is eight. It's not
That
really a
should be
sign
seven.
language. That should be, yeah, we do seven and then eight this way because that's how you write eight in Chinese
Okay.
character. And then nine, all right, so nine is the Roman numeral. And then 10, 10, I think some people do it this way, like Italian. Some people do it
Exactly.
this way
Yeah.
for 10. I know some people do it for 10, some people do it like this way for 10. Yeah,
That's
like it
crazy.
should be this way, like a cross, because 10 in Chinese character is a cross, like literally you draw a
Oh, okay.
cross.
So this is why you have
Hmm.
the signs. Maybe we
Exactly.
should
So
change the topic.
I know learning different cultural sign languages, right?
Exactly.
But welcome to today's another special episode
Yes.
about love,
Yes.
right? And today's topic is what? Self-love, emotional confidence,
Yeah. Independence,
and
emotional independence.
sorry, emotional independence.
I
What
think
is the
emotional
confidence?
confidence too. It's all three of them. Emotional confidence and self-love, giving you emotional independence.
Exactly. Yeah, like before Amy and I decided what to talk about for this week, we're actually talking about like, what more can we give to our beautiful women creators out there who, have been tuning in every week to learn and to share with us. Especially last 2 weeks, we talked about relationships, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we're like, okay, so how can we extend and elaborate on that? And then
Yeah,
we thought of self-love, and this is
exactly.
when Amy was speaking to me about something along the line of emotional independence, how to like basically cultivate, that sort of like how to basically what was your word? What's the
Yeah.
opposite of
Codependence,
codependency?
yeah, because I was explaining to Jing what's been coming up a lot for me this last week is that whether we're talking about relationships, friendships, or whatever, is looking to other people to complete us. The romance, the Disney of it, the one person who gets me and completes me and fixes me, and just by being with me makes me whole, worthy, and complete. Right? This is the romance idea of love, and actually I think this needs to be challenged, which is why I reached out to Jing. I was like, this is what's been coming up for me. I don't know how to describe it, but basically the opposite of codependency. Emotional independence.
Yes, definitely. And I just want to quickly check with you, Amy. Are you on gallery view on your Zoom? Because
Oh,
this is just a bit of a tech thing, because I see that there's only you talking on the live. I don't mind that. Okay. I
so
just want to
far
quickly check because whatever
this
view
is
you
me
see
being
on your screen.
I'm being emotionally independent. I don't need you anymore, Jing. See, in live.
No, no, no problems at all. Yeah, this is just like a minor, techie thing that I'm checking in here.
Writing
And
your emotional
I
independence.
think, yeah, I think whatever that you see here is what's broadcasted. So
Yeah, that's correct.
yeah, so just want to double check there. Yeah, so this is a great one because I know that I myself, 10 years ago when I was in my 20s, I had been this like needy girlfriend, this girl who really needed to be dependent on my other halves, like just dependent on the boyfriend, and doing things with him, and he's like happiness basically, determined how I will feel on that day. I was that kind of person, and I actually lost my own. independence, every independence you can name it. So it was really paralyzing because I was not able to grow individually. Like my whole life was just on like how well the relationship's going. Like everything in my life was just about, if he was happy, then the relationship was good. If we were able to like do things together, or I don't know, have things going together as a couple, then my life would be great. But if there was a trouble, or if there was something that he didn't want to do with me, or things were not going well with the relationship, then it's like my whole life was just like crumbling. Yeah. So that is yeah, sorry, Amy.
No, I was just thinking, I can really relate to that. And I think let's just like put it out there, and be honest about it and get the shame and the stigma about it, because I think a lot of the time we're terrified of people seeing that we're needy. Okay. And there's a lot of shame and stigma, and a lot of what we're doing all the time is like, please, let's just try and hide the fact that I really am needy, and I need someone around all the time to make me feel better. I think is, to get that out of the way. We were all guilty of this at times in our lives, of being needy, and it's like great that you admitted that. So well done.
Oh yeah, totally. I think the thing is, not everybody is like, naturally independent when it comes to relationships and life and self-management and all that. We all have to go through, the mistakes, right? The shitty times and the mistakes in order to be better and to be stronger and to learn from our past, right? And, I have been like really, really codependent for a long time until I realized, that my life was not going anywhere. And also by depending on, by having your own like emotional fulfillment and happiness, everything that's driven by the other person, that basically gives me that actually gave me no sense of purpose.
Right.
Right, you're like, okay, my whole life is just about like being with a person, and if that other half is happy, then I'm happy. Why is it that everything about me is dependent on the other person's emotional state and everything, right? So
Right.
that really, yeah, that was my big aha moment after I don't know how long. And then I finally found what was the learning, like what I had to learn to start loving myself. So we can talk about self-love in a second.
Yes. So, by the way, I've just realized that I wasn't recording it, so we're going to have to introduce the topic again. So, for those that are tuning in, now it's recording. So, I caught some of that amazing share, Jing, but now it's recording.
No problems. Yeah. We record every session because we actually repurpose the content on YouTube. So you guys can actually watch this on YouTube if you're not like, if you can't find it, inside Creator Circle, or if you want someone else outside of the circle to watch this. Yeah. We're trying to take care of women from all over the world.
Yes, exactly. And by being, as we were just talking about at the beginning of the conversation, authentic and being honest about how we feel, so that it takes all this shame, like just as we were saying. So for those of you that are tuning in, and for the fact that I just pressed the record button, the topic today is about emotional independence. So the opposite of codependency, and challenging the idea that we need that one person, the Disney idea, the one person that can complete us, right? And make us feel whole, worthy, and complete. But we're going to challenge that, because as beautiful and romantic as that sounds, it's also implying, it's also disempowering, because it's saying, I need someone else in order to feel good, worthy, whole, complete, happy. So for those of you that are like still on some level clinging to the idea that no, I really want to believe there's that one person who can make me feel special, loved, worthy, whole, complete, you're still clinging on, you kind of don't want to let that go. Well, what's the implications of that? Is that you always need that person around, not even just around, 100% of the time around, to make you feel that way. And what's going to happen is this is where I would say literally the majority of problems in the relationship occur, and difficulties and roadblocks, is because someone really just needs that person to be there and do the things that we were talking about last week that make them feel loved, right? 100% of the time. And Jing was, what Jing was sharing before I hit the record button was amazing. She was admitting that in her 20s, she was that needy girl. And I have no problem admitting that there's a needy side of me. But let's, like, what can we do about that, right? Because we have to just first take the shame out of it. There's no shame in admitting that we can all be needy, whiny, girls on the inside, right? Let's take the shame out of it, put it out there, and now maybe talk about what we can do.
Definitely. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Amy, for that beautiful recap of our beginning. Yes. For people who are watching us on YouTube, you can actually catch up on what this episode is about. And also, while Amy was talking, I actually want to mention that a lot of times when we feel that, oh, we need to have another person to make us feel like whole or complete or like loved and all these like beautiful feelings, right? I do have to say, based on my experience, a lot of times it's actually false. It's that false feeling, right? It's almost like I have to put it this way, right? It's almost like there's something empty inside us, some kind of void. We had to fulfill that. But in order to fulfill, instead of fulfilling that with more inner work, our personal love for ourselves and more personal development, but we're actually seeking externally for what can we find out in the jungle, right? What can we find out there? Which man, which woman can fulfill, that their attention, their interaction with me can fulfill that void. So I see that that's very common in this world right now, whether if it's like conditioning or if it's just a subconscious thing because of our upbringing or things like that, that we kind of somehow instinctively seek externally for that attention. A lot of times, it could be, due to upbringing that we did not receive enough attention and love from family or siblings or loved ones, so that when we grow up, we kind of like, we can easily, sort of like seek that of attention from people around us or forcefully or falsely think that we actually do need to be surrounded by what other people give us, like the recognition, be validated by their sort of like their interaction with us in order to feel like, oh, I'm wholesome, oh, I'm validated, oh, like I'm happy. Right. So I just want to mention that a lot of times, if you do feel that you need to have, your partner, your spouse, or whoever, to really make you feel like you're wholesome, you feel secure, that's another big topic, then you really do need to re-examine that again and think about what happens if they're not around. This is always like a good hypothetical question. Growing up, my father always actually gave me this, how should I say it, this talk, this father and daughter talk. He always taught me that you have to think hypothetically. What if you're by yourself? What if you don't have your boyfriend? How would you live your life? You gotta just have a quick sort of like a visualization in your mind. How would you do it? Are you able to manage that? If the answer is yes, I can do this by myself. Yes, I can do that. If the answer is yes, then you know that you can definitely live without this person. Okay, that's actually how my father helped me actually assess if this relationship was a healthy one or not, if I should leave or should I stay. And he always gave me this, like, I'm very thankful for what he advised me and advised me to like think of the worst case scenario. Right. Okay. Worst case scenario, this person is not in your life. Okay. Are you able to do all these things that you're doing right now? And the answer is yes. Right. And a lot of times, I know right now, those of you who are watching, you may be like, no, I can't live without this person. Right? A lot of times, like, especially girls, some guys too, that you're so used to having this person's energy around, just the vibration around, so you're so used to it. Your whole life is like pretty much, made up by having this other person's energy around. Then suddenly you cannot imagine a life without that person. But this is also a good test for you to ask yourself, like, are you able, or maybe it's time for you to develop, the ability, right? To develop the ability to take care of yourself. And we should actually, from day one, as a grown adult, right? Since the age of 18, we should all have the ability or learn to acquire the ability to be independent. right? And being independent doesn't mean that, oh, I can go rent a house and drive a car, do all that sort of like grown up over 18, buy alcohol, it doesn't, it's beyond just like, managing your life independently, but we also talking about, are you able to, manage your emotions independently, right? When you're by yourself, are you fulfilled, or you cannot be by yourself, right? So I know I'm making this a little bit more practical now, but it's important, right?
I love it. I'm such a big fan of worst case scenario. I use that a lot. I love that. If you can come to peace with the worst case scenario, it's like suddenly you accept the moment just as it is, no matter like what it could be. Like you find a way to accept the worst case scenario, and then we can move forward. So I really love that. That was beautiful. So did I cut you off, or you?
No. We just flow like this.
I was listening, and I mean, for me, I'm gonna, if that's okay, go deeply into it, because this has been my big aha moment this week. So I was listening to Jing talking about growing up and being a teenager, and really this is the cold, let's say, simple truth of it, is that if we think about our lives, if we think about human beings, the only form of human being that requires someone around them all the time to make them feel loved is a child, right? So the first thing that we need to accept is, before let's say judging yourself, is first accept that we're being needy. Don't try and hide it, don't try and cover it up, don't try and suppress it. If you feel yourself needing someone, right, whether it's the person that you have right now in your life, and that you've got that feeling of, they're not making me feel worthy, whole, complete all the time, they're not making me feel unconditionally loved all the time, I'm not seeing them enough, they're not doing the right things. Okay, let's just take the shame out of it, like we did at the beginning. Admit we're being needy. Okay, fine. Jing has no problem about it. I have no problem about it. Take the shame. Okay, who's being needy? Is it you, the woman? No, it's the child in you. Okay, and it's not now, before we go there, we're not now going to say, right, let's just blame the parents, they didn't give me enough unconditional love. Because from the moment you start to detach from your parent, if you look at it, it's not very clear cut, right? You get to, like, you're a baby, you need to be held all the time. And then after that, you start walking and becoming independent. There's no clear cut time when someone says, right, you need to now self-source and be independent. So it's tricky, right? There's no parent that has the ability or the capability or even the emotional availability to give you what you need all the time. But what needs to actually happen is, when you're hit adulthood, to be a functioning adult, is you realize that you should self-source this, right? You become an adult, you become a parent, the ability to be a parent, to give that love, not only to yourself, but to someone else.
That's
right?
So beautiful. That's absolutely right. Right on. I'm with you, girl. Amen.
Right. But scary as that is, okay, because this was the big, this was the hard truth that I faced this week, because I've been working with someone who's been really helping me with my beliefs and my difficulties and my struggles. And I noticed that I started to feel terrified, because I noticed, wow, this person gets me like no one else ever has. Then immediately, oh shit, now I can't have him around forever, right? This is a professional relationship. Okay, and I was actually unable to be honest. This is someone else able to be honest with, thank goodness. And they said to me, Amy, and let me deal with this right now. I will leave you, okay, right? But I'm saying this because I want you to be able to do this for yourself. No one is supposed to be there. You're supposed to source this yourself. You're supposed to complete all of the, let's say, the gaps in the parenting that you didn't receive during that transition period, complete the cycle, and find a way to be there for your own. This is now inner child work, which we're talking about. And so whenever you feel neediness, you recognize this is simply the child in you that is feeling needy. Okay, so what do we do, right? If you notice these feelings, just stop looking, like Jing was talking about, on the outside for people or whatever to make you feel whole. Actually, you're supposed to give that to yourself. And this is probably the most difficult this was a really tough lesson, because trust me, I just like, maybe people listening this is like, no, Disney's told me that there's that one person that makes me feel whole, special, and complete, takes me off to the castle, makes me feel wonderful, changes my life forever, gives me everything that I need and all this unconditional love. And there's birds singing and everything already wonderful. And this is this is not the case. So you're actually supposed to fill in the gaps for yourself. And this will keep happening in your life, in your relationships, until you realize this, or die, to be honest. So it's really a matter of one, accepting this, because any neediness in you is okay. It's a child. Children are allowed to be needy. Children are allowed to need unconditional love, attention, things like that. And the second step is, how do we then go about parenting ourselves, right? Which I can get to in a minute, but maybe I'll let Jing talk. But as scary as this sounds, right, and maybe actually disappointing, right? This is disappointing to realize that actually I'm supposed to be my own prince charming, right? It's disappointing. Where's the story there? Well, is it disappointing or is it empowering? It's empowering.
Right. It is.
Accept the disappointment and then realize that this is effing empowering, because you don't actually need anyone, right? Because no one, even your parents, couldn't be there all the time. No one's going to be able to be there all the time, but you can be there for yourself 100% of the time, just like our friend Candice said the other week, you know? So this is what we need to aspire to. So I'm going to hand over to Jing, and then I can share maybe some tips on how to.
It's so beautiful. I can't wait to hear the tips. I was actually going to expand on what Amy just said here, which is really beautiful, how she mentioned about the inner child that is playing up, and, you know, like playing that neediness still, you know, as an adult, we all carry some kind of like, you know, inner child inside of us, right? Sometimes it's a bit more dominant, right? At times it's really dominant. That is when it comes out and screaming for attention and screaming for, you know, like the codependency. That really happens. And if you do recognize that pattern, if you do recognize that kind of behavior, don't, firstly, you know, like just be okay with it, right? Don't start self-blaming. Don't start criticizing yourself and think that, oh my God, I'm so shit. Why do I still act so childish and that, right? I know, because it's so easy. It's so easy for us to self-criticize, right? And then just, you know, I'm going to that whole spiral of self-sabotaging. But don't do that. Just be okay with it. Be okay with the flaws that we have. We're all humans. We're always working on ourselves. Tell yourself you're a work in progress. This is a body of work in progress, right? And what was I gonna say? There was something that's very important and I forgot. See, this is 100% authentic here. We don't script, you know, we don't have like, yeah, exactly. We don't have a whole script in front of a teleprompter there, right? It will come back. It will come back. But I was actually just saying how it's actually very beautiful to, you know, that Amy mentioned about this whole inner child thing, and also the fact that we actually imagine we are the Prince Charming. You know, Prince Charming is not someone else.
Or Princess Charming, right? We are.
Yeah, Princess Charming. You know, whichever you know preference you have.
Charming, also fine.
Exactly. Yes, I would just use the word all inclusive, right? Everything inclusive here, right? You know, whatever charming that you like. And when she mentioned that, it is actually very empowering to think that, you know, you actually can, you know, you can play the role of, you know, being that supportive force for yourself, and also knowing that you are the one. There's no one else. Think about this. There's no one else but you that has the control over how you want to live your life. You know, how you want to create your happiness. If you leave that power in someone else's hands, right? Say, you know, all inclusive charming, right? That other half, just say that other half, right? You only have 50%. That's the way I learned, you know, and it's actually really true. When you're actually in a relationship, right, you only have 50% of the control of how things will go, because the other 50% of the control is, you know, like, you know, from the other party, right? So I remember a friend of mine, actually, he's a tarot card reader. And he told me this, you know, he gave me really good advice. He said, you know, like, just don't think that, you know, this relationship has to be successful. Use the word like failure, success to describe a relationship. If you think that, you know, you want to make sure you avoid risk and failure. The moment that you enter a relationship, you're already 50% failed. That's the way he phrased it. I was like, wow, that's very interesting, right? He said the moment you are in a relationship, you're 50% failed because you have the 50% of the control, and the other person has the other half, like 50%. So you can do whatever you want. I mean, whatever you can to make sure that your 50% is working, but you cannot control how the other 50% works, right? So there comes the fact that, okay, if we have the 50%, those of you who are in a relationship, then we have to manage our 50%, 100%, which means we also have to take good care of our own, our self-care, self-love, our own needs and everything, instead of like always being anxious and worried about the other 50%, right? Like actually, when you think about it, a lot of times when like when you're in a relationship, I think a lot of that emotional investment, the emotional energy is actually spent on like worrying about the other person. What will she think? What will he think? Oh my God, he's not looking good today. Oh my God, is he okay? Is it about me? Right? I've been there. I know totally. I've lost sleep over, like, I remember one time I lost sleep for a whole week just because my partner was acting weird. But we didn't have that kind of healthy communication. So nothing was communicated. All the while I was paranoid, like paranoid to the max, thinking that, oh my God, is he going to break up with me? Why is he not talking to me? What's going on here? My emotion, everything was just on worrying about the other half. And I didn't actually, this is something I regretted, when I was, growing up. I mean, getting older, like, oh my God, I could have like spent a lot of my energy and time on something else instead of like, right? Spend my time on better things,
I
or
got
like
you.
on taking care of myself, right? Instead, all my energy was all, I could not focus at work. I could not focus on anything that I did. I still went to yoga and stuff, but my mind was just elsewhere. My mind was not on the mat. My mind was just like, oh my God, okay, what am I going to say to him when I get back? Is he going to be okay today? Is he not okay today? Everything was just about that. It was so draining. So so there's a lesson for everybody out there. Take 100% good care of yourself.
Yeah.
You can't really control how the relationship goes. At the end of the day, as long as your self-love, your inner power is there, and you have the ability to take care of yourself, you have all the skills, all the talents, you can start your life. I wouldn't say you start your life all over again. You can start a new chapter anytime, right? Whether if it's with this person or without this person, you will not have that sort of, oh my God, I don't know how to go on without this person, that kind of feeling.
I love it. You could have got, I was thinking, yeah, all of that energy there that you were talking about. I was getting two things that I was getting from that, actually three. The first thing is talking about the 50% is absolutely right. But then I was thinking, well, what's the comparison is with me, myself, we have 100% control, right? That's the
Mhm.
empowering part of it. We have 100% control over, I'm going to say like trying to control ourselves, but we have of our own energy, of our own growth, of our, of how we feel about ourselves, of our emotions. And that's where the empowerment comes from. The second part I got from it was I was listening to Jing, and I was thinking about how old were you in that relationship. I always kind of like wanted to go back and, and like maybe beat you on the head, like with love, and say, you are not responsible for his feelings, right? This is huge. Again, it's very counterintuitive, right? This is the thing. Like if someone says something to me and then hurts my feelings, right? They're responsible for how I feel right now. Okay, okay. If someone comes up and calls you a bitch, it seems like maybe they are responsible for your feelings, but are they? Right. If
Mhm.
someone, we all have those people who can trigger us just by existing, right? Okay. Just that purely that energy, maybe they're just breathing or breathing in the wrong way or just standing there and being present, but they're triggering the shit out of us. Right. If this person can trigger the shit out of me, not by even doing anything, are they responsible for how I feel? No. Just like that, exactly. Just like that, no one is responsible for your feelings. You're as an adult, sure. Maybe as a child it's different, but as an adult, you are responsible for your pain, your emotions, for everything. And that's freeing because you can be literally like, that's your problem. Right?
Mhm.
Lovingly. lovingly, I accept this is your problem. I can support you in it, but I don't have to lie awake worrying and wasting all of my energy and time on it, right? How can I support you to figure out your, to help yourself, to love yourself, to accept yourself, to get through this? Okay, and that's empowering. And the third part that I realized as I was listening to it is another reason for those who are still thinking, no, it's not up to me to self-source my own love and everything. It's still up to the one, the Disney one, the princess, or non-gender neutral, charming. It's them, right? I don't want to let go of that fairy tale, right? Well, here is the crunch. The only person, and Jing and I are super honest, right? We're super honest, but still, even with all of that, the only person I can really, truly be honest, 100% honest with about how I feel and why I feel that way with no shame is myself, right? The second the words come out of my mouth, it's turned around someone else, how it's being perceived. Maybe they don't quite get it. Maybe they don't quite understand the way I'm trying to communicate with them. But so it's about the honesty that you can have with yourself. And the big one, so I have no problem sharing the, let's say the inner child work that I'm dealing with right now, the big sort of the needy feeling that I have. I noticed that, like, no matter how many people, because, I'm going through a lot of changes in my life right now, a lot of people have reached out, for support and comfort. And no matter how many people say that they're here for me, right? Why do I still feel like I'm alone, right? Okay, so what's going on there? There's a child inside of me that feels alone. Okay, and what I've been trying to do to deal with that before is I've recognized the feeling, the needy feeling of wanting to have someone there all the time, making me feel not alone, making me feel secure. Right, I've recognized it. So what do I do next? Well, okay, what I was trying to do before, and it wasn't working very well, to deal with the inner child and to work on the inner child, was say, don't be stupid, you're not alone. And then maybe more kindly, you're not alone, it's okay, you're not really alone, it's okay, you're surrounded, you're loved, whatever. Okay, and this also wasn't working. Why wasn't it working? Well, basically what I'm telling to the child is that you're not justified in your emotion right now. You shouldn't feel alone. There's no reason for you to feel alone. Don't feel what you're feeling. And that's how we start to work on this. And if we think about what does a child really need, it's easy for me to think about this because I have a son, is when they're upset, right? When they've hurt themselves.
Oh, Amy, your audio got cut off.
Oh.
Okay, now it's back. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, what was I saying?
About your son. So
yeah. So if my son comes to me and he's upset because something's happened in his class, then or at school, or he's hurt himself, what does he need from me right then at that moment? Does he need me to say, you shouldn't feel how you're feeling, because I've tried that, it's not worked, it's not comforted him. I say, oh, it's going to be okay. Oh, they like you if it's someone in the class, or they like you really, or they're just silly. Again, none of that really hits home. That what really hits home is I'm here. I get it. That sounds like it must feel terrible for you. You must feel terrible. I can totally see you and hear you and appreciate how terrible you're feeling right now. Let me give you a big hug. It's okay to feel like that. Let's just get that out of the way and not try and tell him how to feel, how to behave, because this is really, I think what I want to say, like, this is the mistake, because we all do it as parents, is to try to, because we don't like to see our child crying, right? It's painful. We want to immediately stop that. And, the general trend is like, you stop feeling how you're feeling, because it hurts. I can't handle it. It upsets me. So yeah, it's going to be fine. But actually what is needed is to meet the child there, right? For me, I finally started to see progress when I sat down with a little girl. I was like, yeah, this sucks. This feels really lonely. I'm so sorry that you feel this way, but I can totally appreciate how lonely you feel right now. And then finally, actually didn't feel alone anymore because someone had met her in it and actually sat down with her and been like, yeah, this is lonely. I get it. So that's what's worked for me. What do children really need? They just need to be told that it's okay to feel how they feel. They need comfort in that feeling. They need to feel like they are seen and heard, in their feelings. And then they get over them super fast. Like, it's almost a switch. Oh yeah, okay, I'm going to go play again now. This is what my son does when, he had a sleepover the other week, and one of the kids had been mean to him. So I took him out there. I just let him cry out, and I said, yeah, that must feel terrible. That must feel terrible. And then it was just like sort of switched, and he was like, okay, I'm good now. That's it. Like,
That's
rather than trying
great.
to talk him out of it. So it's not as complicated as we think, right? When we start to do this work where I have to look and I have to see this little girl, I have to go in the room, I have to say all this stuff. No, you just have to be there, that's it, and let them know it's okay to feel how they're feeling and just sit there with them.
Yeah, definitely. That actually is really beautiful. It reminds me of a that inner child meditation that I think most of us know, right? We've done with master or individually or have done it somewhere else. Go there and meet your, the inner child of yourself, and then have that conversation one to one. This is actually also very, very powerful, very empowering to do that, and be able to, like you said, to recognize, our weaknesses and our vulnerability, but also be okay with this. And while Amy was, sharing, I also thought that one of the good things, or actually one of the good ways for to help everybody to work through this, I mean, definitely it takes work, like both Amy and I, we actually have our own coaches and we do our own private sessions with our own coaches. And also, like we also each have our own students who do sessions with us to work on these things, right? It's we can give everybody the tips here, in the live, but also, we want to let everybody know that it's not something you can get over like overnight, right? The example she gave, from her son, that's contextual, in that context, then it's easy to turn things around. Whereas like for a lot of us, we've been around for 20, 30, 40 plus years. A lot of the that codependency, for example, the lack of emotional independence has been there. It has been programmed and deep rooted for a very long time. So we must do the necessary inner work to deprogram, reprogram ourselves and reprogram that out. And it does require a lot of effort and time. But I also will, one tip I can give to all of you, and also this is something that I teach in my women's body confidence class, is that you have to sit down with yourself and ask yourself on, very honestly, what are your needs and what are your wants? What do you want in life? And how do you see yourself? It's kind of like setting a goal, but it's actually beyond just, oh, I want to make how much money, I want to have a mansion, all those things, right? It's way beyond the material things that you want to, aim for. What exactly, who do you want to become? You got to ask yourself this, what kind of mother you want to become, what kind of like leader you would like to become, what kind of like daughter, what kind of person do you want to become? What would actually spark joy for you? What do you need in life? What do you want in life? You need to have those, very raw and honest conversations with yourself to figure out, who are you? So from there, then you think you go one level deeper. Okay, so how can I make those happen? Do I need someone in my life to give me those needs and wants? Or am I able to actually create those myself? Am I able to provide those for myself? And I do want everyone to be as honest as possible and look at the possibilities of how can you provide those for yourself. How are you able to come up with creative ways, write down as many as possible? How are you able to give yourself the needs and the wants that you want? What kind of life that you want to live? What kind of person do you want to become? Do you need to have, say for example, that uh, gender neutral prince charming, I mean charming, to be there to give you all that? Or this is something that you have 100% power, 100% control in your hands to make all that happen, right? So go back into your basic needs, basic needs beyond just, okay, I'm here, I'm surviving, but what are your, your mental, social, emotional, and spiritual needs? All the other, human needs. What are your needs? Some everybody is different, right? And I really, when I say this to everyone, in my coaching program, I tell everybody, don't, when you do this exercise, you got to make sure that you're in a room by yourself and give yourself like a, like a blank, treat yourself like a blank canvas. No, like, external influence or anything, any noises around you. Ask yourself, what is it that you want, not what your parents want you to do, not what your loved ones want you to do, or maybe your children. I mean, that is important, being a mother here. It is important because your needs, I'm sure, as a parent, your needs will actually definitely include, what you want to do for your child, what your children want, right? So, it's very important to have that honest conversation with yourself, right? And excluding, you know, other people, other energies, just you and your energy. You might find that it's actually quite surprisingly powerful when you are able to have that conversation by yourself, with yourself. Yeah. So that's just what I want to
I
share.
think that actually is like really the simple answer. I mean, to the question of how do we achieve emotional independence, right, in a relationship. Well, just like think about the perfect ideal physical relationship with another human being would be 100% honesty, right?
Hmm.
Communication. And what Jing was just saying there is like, okay, so how do I even start this emotional independence? How do I even start? Like Jing just said it just there. We don't have to go in and picture any children inside of us and things like that. Just start by being honest about how you feel, accept your feelings. And it is empowering and it is beautiful when you realize actually you are the only person who truly understands you, your whole history, how you feel. Even if I tell Jean I feel anxious today, anxiety to me might feel completely different to anxiety to Jean. You're the only person who can really truly appreciate your own experience, your own emotions, your own body, your own feelings, your own thoughts, and understand them. The second they come out of your mouth, they lose meaning. So I think this is really it, like having that honest conversation with yourself. I feel, where are you at right now? Write it down. I feel like this right now. I feel like this about my life right now. I feel like and you can say this to yourself without it affecting your, law of attraction. I feel like I don't have what I want right now, right? We're not putting the vibration out there. This is how I feel, and I accept that. And I am where I am right now, and that's okay. This was on an Abraham Hicks video. I was like, I love that, right? Just accept yourself truly for as you are, and it's
Hmm.
liberating and it's empowering because you really are at the end of the day, you're your own Prince Charming, right? And the crazy thing is with this honesty and with building this relationship with yourself. And when I say building a relationship with yourself, I'm really mindful that we don't like split ourselves into two there. When we're talking about this, we're talking about um, the inner child, the inner neediness, right? Then you're in a position where you're relying on yourself. You're self-sourcing all of the things that you were looking outside for, and don't panic, right? That, oh, this means this is what Candace was saying, that I don't need anyone. I'm never going to have a relationship if I behave that way. Well, no. One, I have seen this happen so many times that I actually want to say that it's fact. You become magnetic and attractive. Become neediness, as we said, I think we said this before, is, taking pity aside and sympathy aside and the need to rescue people aside, it's not attractive,
Hmm.
right? Empowering and self-empowerment is super attractive and it's magnetic, and I've seen this happen to all of my friends. You will attract like people like you wouldn't believe it, and you'll
Yes.
attract abundance like you wouldn't believe it because you're sourcing within yourself, right? You're that magnet, right? And then I think really so that you will become more attractive. And the second part of it is that really when you do have a relationship and you've taken away that codependency and you've taken away the pressure and the pain and the disappointment involved in saying, you've got to give me everything that I need to feel that I didn't feel when I was a child, taking that away, well, what reason do I have to stay with this person? Okay, because you genuinely enjoy spending time with them. You genuinely enjoy, connecting with them, speaking to them with them. You cherish it, you flourish. It's much more beautiful and authentic when you take away that you must give me everything that I need. Don't
Hmm.
ever leave me, or honestly, like I will just fall apart because everything is dependent on you.
That's kind of scary, right? Think about it. If that was said to you, like switch the role, right? If someone said that to you,
Yeah,
how would that make you feel? It's like,
but I
oh
think,
shit,
but
right?
but
I bear so much responsibility in
but
that person's happiness.
is that's actually what we're saying to the people, right? If we were to voice that, if someone was to voice that to you, you would be like, what the
Right.
F? But actually, this is
Right.
what we're saying subconsciously and with our feelings. And
Yes, body language and the
exactly.
vibration is actually saying that, right? I
Right.
totally 100% know because I have
That's
been
what
in that shoes.
responsibility.
I told you I was that needy girlfriend, right? And the more you're depending your everything on the other person, the more you're actually pushing that person away because there's just so much of that desperation that, I, yes, grabbing onto everything.
Yeah.
And that other person would not feel like I have any room to breathe.
Right.
How about my space and everything, right? It's so important for everyone to have their own individual space,
Yeah.
headspace, physical space, so that we mentioned this in our last session
Yeah.
about healthy relationship, right? A healthy relationship is when you both can grow together, and when you're not together individually, you're also growing and thriving. That is the healthy relationship. Not like we only grow when we're together. It's only happy when we're
Exactly.
together.
I
When
think,
we're not together, oh my God.
and this is what we should aspire to. And it's not like we're saying don't comfort your partner, because I think we can go too far either way. Like
Oh yeah, don't be too extreme.
I was
Yeah, right.
this was amazing to hear, but this person told me that they were like completely just really upset and broken and destroyed one day. They reached over to their partner and reached for their hand. The partner said, put their own hands on their chest and said, you need to find this yourself, and then left. Right, which is terrifying but also empowering. It's not so what the ideal situation is not that we don't ever give support to our partner, but that they give it to us because they want to, not because we need them to, right? And that's
Hmm.
much more beautiful, right? I think
Hmm.
is the main thing. And just like this whole neediness, this oh, I need you, it implies that you don't have them, right? So you're just like, I don't have them. I want you, but I don't have them. So they keep moving away from you.
Right, right. I love that, the palm on your heart. And we do this a lot in our meditation, right? Right? We do this a
Yeah.
lot. So always, everybody, while you're watching this, this is what you can take away from today. One of the good golden nuggets from today is to put your own palm in your own
Yeah,
hand
let's do it.
and tell yourself, I got this,
I got
I
this.
love myself. It
I
feels
am
so
my own
good.
princess or
Yes.
gentleman charming.
Yeah. On my own relationship. And yeah,
Yes.
when you actually grow your heart, and when you grow your self-love so much, when you go into a relationship, or when in the future or now, when you go back to your partner or something like that, you will find that you feel a lot more secure, and you feel a lot more calm. You don't have that anxiety, the worry about, I don't know how is everything going to work out. And
They're here because they want to be there, not because you need them to be there. And that's much more beautiful and pure. I think it's healthy.
Exactly. Yeah. So that, I think that calmness, that, it goes back to our last topic, right? Last week we talked about balance. There's that, you need to have that vibrational calmness, the vibrational, the
Yeah.
emotional, the calmness in your whole vibration. Calmness will always resolve everything, I feel, like there's calmness in you, that means there's certainty in you, right? And we can talk about this next time, that whole certainty, calmness, and everything, it all comes together as part of the whole equation. So yeah, so I think we actually may have to end today's session in a minute now, but I do want to see, we actually got a lot of comments coming in actually
I
while we're
know.
talking.
I think we had so much to say that I actually forgot even about
I
it.
know. Yeah, we got like Ara and Leia, and yeah, Leia's loving it. She's actually a really good friend, and one of my top students. Um, so she's really working really hard on self-love, and every day she's striving to be the better version of herself. She's also a mom. So yeah, so we got a lot of really amazing comments from Leia, also Ara. So Ara and Leia, they start to, befriending each other now. I see in our chat. It's beautiful to see
Yeah.
that, right? We're providing this space for
Our
women to.
right? Our goal is to lift you guys up, and then we keep lifting each other up. And
Exactly. You girls are amazing. Seriously. This is exactly what we're trying to like, bringing here for women to, empowering each other, like women empower each other. And also we have the saying in our program is that confident women create more confident women, like Master always say that leaders create leaders. So this is what we're trying to do here. And yes, girls, any topics that you really want us to talk about, please write them in the comments below. So we always, answer everybody's question. And, we're here every Wednesday. Yeah, next week we'll be back on normal time. Yeah, every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Every Wednesday, 5 p.m. UK time. So that's live. What time is that? Yeah, so that's 9. Yeah, 9 my time, Pacific Standard Time, 12 Eastern Standard Time. So is that right? Yes, it is. Yes. So yeah, so catch us live, or you can catch the replay or catch the recording on YouTube. And yes, do let us know. And Leah or Ara, if you're watching right now, let us know what topics you want us to talk about. We're only talking about women-oriented topics. So obviously, love and relationship is a big one. Sorry?
Let's just get a guy in here and grill them.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, we should have a male guest, right? So give us a suggestion, who would you like to see?
Poor guy is going to be like just interrogated.
Yeah, that would be very interesting. We have a male guest here, and let's see if you have anyone in mind. Let us know, and then we would, we have a special guest in here and see from the guy's perspective what would he advise us, right? Like Matthew Hassey,
Exactly. Yeah.
Everybody knows Matthew Hassey, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So that works really well.
We've all done that out of neediness, but basically he was saying the exact same thing. Stop being needy. Stop being needy. Needy is not.
Oh yeah.
That's essentially what he's saying.
Exactly. Yeah. A lot of the classic, advice, they never die. They're like timeless, right? There are a lot of timeless relationship and just life advices out there. Maybe with the change of technology, it's expressed differently, right? You hear it on YouTube, on TikTok, or something else, but essentially it's the same classic wisdom. Yes, let's make wisdom go viral, like Jay Shetty always says.
Yeah.
We just said so many influencers' names inside Creator Circle, but it's all good. We follow a lot of different influencers.
Yeah.
Yeah, so our purpose is to, entertain, educate, and to, to engage and to connect with all of you and to empower. That's right. Sorry, I forgot about that word. Entertain. Okay, to empower, entertain, and educate. Yeah, this 3 E's for everybody here. So we're very happy to, keep this running every Wednesday and seeing that there's so many of you tuning in every week. And then we receive a lot of you asking us about like, oh, what are you talking about this week? I'm looking forward to, today. And it's just so like heartwarming to see that kind of support from you girls. So please, do share this with anyone that any female creators or anyone outside of the circle. Invite them to come in here, feel the vibration, shower them with positivity. And, we would love to impact more and more, women creators out there, because the more we're empowered, the more we can empower everybody, the better that your life becomes and the better the world can become. Okay, so I don't want this to become like Miss Universe pageant speech. Peace.
It's a click, isn't it? Your girlfriend, go girlfriend.
Exactly. And other one is just world peace.
I could not pull that
off. Go girl. Go girl. Go girl. Yeah. You cannot see I'm doing a chest wave here. Okay. Anyways, we're gonna do yoga like that with Amy. Amy, do some of that chest wave in the yoga. I'm working my. Yeah, this is a feminine move, when you're able to like rotate, isolation work of your hips and your chest. It's very feminine. Okay, we gotta get some of our like belly dancing girls to come in.
Lower chakras, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, lower chakra. Yes. Swirl. Make her swirl, right? Anyways, yes, this is how we want to end today's episode. Yeah, we're gonna exit the screen with a little swirl, little lady WW dance. Right? Love you, Amy, and love you, everybody, for tuning in today. We'll see you girls next Wednesday at 5 p.m. UK time. All right. Bye. Go Rocket.